Hello everyone, and today we are doing What If Deku had Lucario's abilities, part 2. Thanks for another 50 subs in 2 days. I mean, that's awesome, guys. So, it seems this is weird, guys, because I've had 100 subs in 4 days. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's amazing, but it's shocking at the same time. So, thank you guys so much. And me and my brother rated my remaining series from 1 to 10. And I'm doing all 3 of them that are 10. And one of them is What If Deku was Dialga, so you guys can... I'll be making an actual series of it instead of just one massive fight, which I still think was pretty cool. I mean, it was like... Oh, also in this one, if you guys go and watch part 1, link in the description. I'm not doing the Hulk voice, the...
What's up, boy?
Yeah, I'm not doing that because that'll be a little straining. And I'll just use them as Ochako, but Lucario still uses spoons. Yeah, we're still in the spoon universe. Yeah, that happened. Anyway, we start this what if off. Well, no, we continue it on, and I'll say, just so I can continue it, and I didn't watch from where it ended. It looks like it starts right after the physical exam, I do believe. So, enough with the intro. Let's get into the video. So we continue this off, guys, and this is right after Izuku and Uraka and everyone got their gym uniforms on and went outside. And they all look at Aizawa like, so what do we do? And Aizawa gets baseball. It was like, throw this as far as you can. I'll count your distance. And Izuku, who had probably the most points, Izuku throws it as far as he can inside of an aura spear as he screams and shouts, "Aura spear!" And it goes about 2,100 meters as Izuku drops to the ground, exhausted. Like, that was exhausting. As Aizawa looks at him like, not bad, kid. You got 2,100 meters. And everyone's like, 2,100? And Izuku's like, that's better than I thought. I thought it was going to be 21 meters. As Uraka looks at him like, he really has no self-confidence, does he? And yeah. So, Izuku and everybody. One sec, guys. Okay, guys. And Izuku walks away, and everyone else does their turn. And everyone's still astounded, like, oh my gosh, Ochako, you got infinity. And Uraka's like, it's no problem, Izuku. As Izuku's like, that's something to say. I wish one of us could have got infinity. How do you launch it into space? As Uraka's like, oh, it's my quirk. I can make things float, but it makes me sick if I do it for too long. So since it was such a light object, I was able to do it quite easily. And Izuku's like, cool. And next, the next day after that, Izuku and everyone get into class, and then All Might pops in like, I am here. And yeah, we're just completely ditching the spoon idea. Sorry for you guys who wanted it to be a funny one, but I don't know. I just don't do it anymore. Because I just want to stay below the 2 dislikes, guys. I don't like dislikes. Don't sue me. Anyway, Izuku is like, oh my gosh, All Might. And All Might is like, hello, students. As everyone's like, hello, All Might. And All Might then looks over through the entire class like, well, everyone, today we'll be doing hero training. Hero versus villains, to be exact. And Izuku then thinks to himself, oh, right, that weird costume. As Izuku, after putting his costume on, comes outside. And imagine Izuku when he doesn't have his costume on. He just doesn't have this little fur coat. Izuku comes out like that. And Uraraka's like, oh, I like the vest, Izuku, but isn't there a little more you need? As Izuku's like, not really. I mean, these spikes I put on, they enhance my power and dramatically strengthen them. And Uraraka's like, that's interesting. Where did you get that? As Izuku looks at her like, you know you could have just, like, said that in your hero costume. As Uraraka's like, well, I didn't know you could put, like, strengtheners and boosters. Isn't it kind of cheating? As Izuku's like, how, though? It's legal. Luckily. Uraraka's like, I guess you're right, Deku. As they go into the exam, and as always, Izuku and Uraraka are chosen by All Might to face Bakugo and Ida. So, by the way, guys, if you're hearing the background music, that would be Put Your Records On by Rit Money. Momney. Don't copyright me, YouTube. And Izuku, then, when the battle starts, he's running across the halls with Uraraka like, we need to quickly get to the bomb before Bakugo finds us. As Uraraka's like, why, though? He's probably staying there with Ida. And Izuku's like, definitely not. He's not the person to just sit there. As Uraraka's like, so when do you think he'll be here? As they get past the next corner and Bakugo is right there as he shoots a massive explosion at them. And when the smoke settles, Izuku has his bones in front of him, blocking the blast. Like, you okay, Ochako? And Uraraka, who hit her head on the wall, is like, yeah, I'm fine. My head just hurts. I'll go up the stairs. You hold him off. As Izuku's like, understood. As he starts spinning his bones, and then is like, bone rush. As he holds both of his bones in his hands as he runs over to Bakugo while Naruto running. May I mind you? And Bakugo's just dodging the bones. Like, is this all you have, Izuku? As Izuku then hits him in the chin and then makes 8 spoons. Why did I say spoons? I meant bones. And he then puts his sharp end on 2 of them and grabs both of them like, this is what I meant. As he stabs Bakugo with both of them. And All Might looking at this like, maybe I should step in now already. And Izuku's like, don't worry. That shouldn't bleed for long. After all, I put a special toxin in them that actually heals you. But it will still hurt. As All Might's like, at least he's considerate. As Izuku handcuffs Bakugo and kicks him into a wall. You know, just for safe measuring. And Izuku then runs over to Ochako, and Izuku walks behind her like, so what's happening? As Uraraka's like, oh, Izuku, you scared me. Ida's right there with the bomb, and we can probably take him. You can probably distract him, and I can get the bomb. As Izuku's like, that's fine. As he jumps out of the cover, and in this picture, he ignites a little flame around him. Not noticing this, he makes 2 aura spears in his hands, like, ultimate move, aura spear. double cannon, as he combines both of them into his hands and shoots a massive blast at Ida. And Ida, who's about to dodge out of the way, notices Ochako put him in a full Nelson, as Ida's like, "You'll get hurt, Ochako." And Ochako's like, "I know." As Ida can't get out of the way, and right as the blast hits Ida's armor, Uraraka jumps off of Ida, and she is about to touch the bomb before her foot is yanked back and thrown into the blast, as Ida is fully covered in the blast. And Izuku, seeing this, is like, "Oh, Chaco!" as he stops the blast and runs over to Uraraka and sees she's unconscious, and the entire front half of Ida's armor is just torn to shreds, and Ida has third-degree burns all over him, and Ida is like, "That was highly unnecessary, Midoriya," as he falls unconscious. And Izuku just walks over and touches the bomb like, "I should not have won like that." As he notices burn marks around the room, like, "Wait, how did I do that?" And All Might then runs into the room like, "Is everyone okay?" as he sees Izuku holding Ida's body, like, "You need to get him to a hospital now, All Might. He's really burnt." As All Might's like, "I understand, Midoriya," as he then dashes through the wall to a hospital, as Izuku's like, "I'll get you to recovery, girl, Uraraka." As Uraraka says in a weakish voice, like, "Okay, Deku-kun." As, yeah. Okay, so on to the USJ after lots of recovery. It's actually 2 months later because they wanted to postpone it so everyone could join in. And Izuku, meeting up with Ochako and Ida, like, "Are you guys really okay?" And Ochako's like, "Well, I only took about a week. Ida-kun took about 2 months." As Ida's like, "Why am I being blamed for this? I was in there for 2 months because I had third-degree burns. You completely vaporized my armor." I couldn't do much. As Deku's like, "I guess that is right." And that is when Izuku notices, "Wait, what's with this? The camera's falling off. They're turning off in the USJ." As Izuku tells this to Aizawa, and as Aizawa makes a phone call, like, "Principal Nezu, if I don't call you back in 5 minutes, send heroes our way." And Nezu then says over the phone, is like, "Understood, Mr. Aizawa." And that's when Ida looks over to Izuku like, "Was that necessary?" And Deku is like, "Definitely. It could be an emergency." As they walk into the USJ, as 13's explaining everything to them, and she's like, "Welcome to the USJ." And Izuku looks down there like, "What's that purple portal, everyone?" And Kirishima's like, "Oh, did they bring fake villains also?" As I was like, "Fake villains?" And by now it's been about 30 seconds in, and Aizawa then sees real villains start coming out, like, "We just have to survive for 4.5 minutes, everyone. That's when the heroes will start coming. We just have to survive till then." As he gets his goggles on, and is like, "Everyone stay behind me," as all the villains start pouring out. As Aizawa goes down the stairway, and Izuku's like, "Come on, class. We can't just stand here and watch. People who can send ranged attacks, we have to support Aizawa." As Izuku gets out bones with sharpened ends and starts launching them at the villains, trying to not hit Aizawa. As people like Bakugo are shooting precision shots through their hand to make them purposely small but long and deadly. Anyway, so I'd imagine people like Aoyama, Momo, with her cannons, her army of cannons, and people like Todoroki sending all kinds of attacks towards the villains, as Aizawa thinks to himself, well, at least they're helping, as he eventually meets up with Shigaraki, and Shigaraki, right as their interaction was almost over, Shigaraki, right as he was about to grab Aizawa's elbow, he's hit in the chest with 4 icicles, and Shigaraki's like, what the heck? As he looks over to the stairway and sees Todoroki sending icicles at him. And that's when Izuku lights another fire around him like, special move, crystal burst, as he makes the aura spears into one massive crystal above the USJ, as he says, enlightening force, as all the students feel empowered. Like, why do I feel stronger all of a sudden? As Aoyama's blast, which was originally blue, turns red and now has flames on it. As Shigaraki gets back like, this kid with the laser. As he sees the Nomu being hit by it and the skin is burning off. As Shigaraki's like, that's not good. As Izuku starts sending aura spears at the Nomu, and the Nomu's limbs are popping off like low-budget superhero action figures. I think that's a good comparison. As Aizawa looks over to the students like, come on, kids, we can all take them. As Aizawa pins Shigaraki to the ground and breaks his armor. And he's like, don't say a word. I'm pretty sure that thing is some kind of device. So don't you dare speak. As Shigaraki yells, Nomu, kill them all. And the Nomu immediately punches Aizawa off of Shigaraki. Shigaraki gets up like, this'll be fun. As the Nomu immediately rushes towards Aizawa to finish him off. But Shigaraki is then met with Kirishima and Sato, who knock him out and bloody him. And Sato's like, with this power, I don't need sugar, because now my body creates it inside of me. As everyone runs over to the Nomu, and Aizawa being launched back into them, Izuku catches him like second form, healing crystal, as he launches the crystal up into the air, and all the students are then just being healed. And he can select who to be healed, by the way, so the villains aren't being healed. And Aizawa's like, dang, kid, you've got some talent. As Izuku catches Aizawa like, it's just my thing. As everyone rushes at the Nomu, and immediately Kirishima's hit by the Nomu in the face. You would think this would absolutely destroy Kirishima, but he's in a red riot mode, like the maximum hardening one you see in the anime. And when he's hit, the armor just regenerates, and everyone is fighting against the Nomu. And that's when All Might bursts through the door like, who's touching my students? And the Nomu then looks over to All Might, and he immediately blitzes All Might. And that's when the Nomu is, he falls unconscious because of this certain gas. As Midnight comes through the door like, well, he clearly wasn't expecting that. And yeah, that happens. So, we go on to the USJ. Well, no, we finished the USJ. And we go on to the sports festival. Why was I forgetting that? Anyway, the next week later, after everyone was dealing with their quirks being weakened because they, for about half an hour, got used to the little boost as Izuku's energized crystal. But here's the thing. It was permanent, which Izuku didn't know at the time, but he made a permanent crystal, so whatever person who was deemed worthy by Izuku would be boosted. And Izuku could take away this boost, which people didn't know. And yeah. So, other students used this, and Izuku gave them a boost so they could truly use their quirk and get better at saving people. And yeah, other classes used that to their advantage, as you'd imagine. So, onto the sports festival. When everyone arrives, they put on their gym uniform, as always. And yeah, we get all the way to Izuku, as Midnight looks at him like, as the number one person from UA will be doing our pledge. As Izuku's like, I don't know about number one, but as he tells them, I want everyone to put on a great fight today. I expect a great challenge as I'm deemed the number one. So, let's make an underdog story. As he fires up the crowd with his words, as Izuku's like, I thought that was a pretty good speech, as he gets back to Ida and Uraraka. And Uraraka's like, that was great, Deku-kun. That was a good speech. Really got the crowd fired up. As Izuku's like, thank you. As, and Midnight announces the event, and she then has a little countdown. I was like, ready, set, go, as everyone rushes to the first, big entrance. And that's when Todoroki slides out of the entrance first, freezing everyone's legs, as Izuku, with one of his bones, crushes the ice. And he crushes his friend's ice also. But he leaves most of the others, as Izuku's like, I at least want you guys to do good. As Uraraka's like, thank you, Deku-kun, as Izuku blitzes in front of Todoroki and smacks him on the head. And this launches Todoroki to the ground as Deku quickly gains a lead. And that's when Bakugo breaks the ice with his explosions and is now trying to get first. And eventually, Deku is caught up to by Ida and Bakugo. Todoroki is in 4th right now, as Uraraka is also in 5th, but everyone else had just started to break their ice. And yeah, so Deku now, seeing the 0-pointers, sends one massive aura spear at the ground, that should freeze them, as all three of the 0-pointers are blasted into the ground, as Izuku's like, well, at least they fell, and he jumps over them, as he looks backwards to see a glimpse of Ida gaining on him, as he sees it, as Izuku remarks to himself, well, he's in full speed. I don't know how I'm beating him. As Izuku keeps Naruto running his way to the lead, and eventually he arrives at the massive gap. As Izuku's like, let's try this new thing. As he makes a massive bone. And it's I forget what it's called, but he starts running, and he puts the bone on the ground, and he just slings himself across the entire gap and lands on the ground. How did that work? As he keeps running, as Ida sees the massive bone on the ground, what the? Did he long jump over this? As Ezekiel arrives at the minefield as Ida's like, dang it, now I can't even see him. And that's when Ida remarks to himself, Bakugo is behind me. Great. As Izuku throws a mine in front of him, and it explodes all the mines in front of him. As Izuku's like, okay, I can get a steady path to the victory. As he eventually passes the minefield and wins first place. And about a minute later, Ida arrives like, how are you faster than me? As Izuku shrugs like, I don't know, I just am. Without a speed quirk either. And yeah, that happens. So, next we have the cavalry battle. And Uraraka arrives in 4th actually. And Todoroki in 5th. And Todoroki is a bit sad and like expected to do at least 3rd. Especially with the little lead I had at the start. As Izuku gets his original team as in the anime. Except I'll say he has, instead of Tokoyami, he has Ida. Because they're more friendly in this one. And when it starts, Izuku tells Ida, let's go for 2nd place. As, 2nd place. As they immediately blitz over to Bakugo's team. And Bakugo is like, Kirishima, block them. As Izuku is like, he's charging up a precision shot. As Izuku sends Aura Spear at the team. And this sends them all up into the air. As Izuku jumps off of Ida's shoulders. And he goes up in front of Bakugo. As Bakugo's like, what are you going to do now, nerd? As they're both falling, and Deku's like, volleyball. As with a bone, he spikes Bakugo into the ground, but not before yanking off his bandana. And Izuku then sends Aura Spears off of the ground as he gets close to it, and eventually makes it back to Ida. As Izuku's like, that was great. And Ida's like, how close are we to 2nd right now? As Izuku's like, well, it seems they're halfway across the arena, so we can probably just avoid Todoroki's team the entire match. But Bakugo's team, it'll be a while. As Bakugo is, he was barely saved by Sero, but they're really hurt by the Aura Spear, as Bakugo is completely disheartened. And yeah, so eventually Izuku's team runs out the clock, but not before one of their bandanas being snagged by Monoma's team, and then Bakugo immediately snagging it back, noticing it had 480 points. And yeah, then Midnight calls the event. And that's where I'll be leaving it off, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, this is Call Me Rushed signing off. Bye-bye.